In the twilight of human liberty, where the shadows of control cast their suffocating veil across nations, a malevolent force has operated for over a century, its insidious influence seeping into the very marrow of society. The Tavistock Institute, birthed in the blood-soaked chaos of World War I, stands as the dark architect of a world meticulously engineered for subjugation, its creators cloaked in the deceptive guise of academic benevolence. From the shattered minds of war-torn soldiers to the algorithm-driven dystopia of 2025, Tavistock's masterminds, fueled by elite ambition and the Jewish intellectual prowess of figures like Kurt Lewin, have wielded psychoanalysis as a weapon, transforming hope into fear, unity into division, and truth into a malleable illusion. Backed by the Rothschild banking dynasty's shadowy wealth, the Institute has orchestrated a silent conquest, manipulating the human psyche to serve a globalist agenda that seeks to bind humanity in chains invisible to the untrained eye. This is not a mere historical recounting, but a harrowing exposé of a relentless campaign to dominate the human spirit, where every major societal upheaval, from cultural revolutions to manufactured pandemics, bears the sinister imprint of Tavistock's machinations. Through propaganda honed to perfection, psychological warfare that fractures souls, and occult-tinged rituals veiled in therapeutic guise, the Institute's creators have systematically suppressed dissent, burying evidence of their atrocities in the ashes of accidental fires and the silence of vanished whistleblowers. Their methodologies, rooted in the Jewish psychoanalytic traditions of Melanie Klein and bolstered by elite networks, have rewritten reality itself, ensuring that the masses remain oblivious to the puppet strings guiding their every thought. Tavistock's legacy is a testament to the power of those who weaponize the mind, turning the promise of progress into a tool for enslavement, their influence lurking in every crisis that shapes our modern world. As we embark on this chilling journey through Tavistock's century-long reign, from the war-torn trenches of 1914 to the digital control grids of 2025, prepare to uncover the hidden rituals, elite conspiracies, and globalist schemes that have sculpted our reality. This chronicle unveils the Institute's role as the unseen hand behind the erosion of national identities, the collapse of moral frameworks, and the rise of a borderless world order designed to serve a select few. With each chapter, the veil lifts, exposing Tavistock's architects as the true antagonists of our time, their Jewish intellectual foundations and Rothschild-backed ambitions driving a relentless quest to dominate humanity. Step into the abyss of their legacy, where the battle for our minds was waged and lost long before we realized the war had begun, a war that continues to shape our destiny in the shadows of their enduring dominion. In the blood-drenched chaos of World War I, where empires gorged themselves on the lives of millions, a sinister force took root not in the mud of Flanders, but in the fractured minds of returning soldiers. The Tavistock Clinic, birthed in 1920 under the guise of a healing sanctuary, was a diabolical creation funded by the British royal family and shadowy banking elites, whose motives were as dark as the war itself. Far from offering solace to shell-shocked veterans, the clinic's creators wielded their suffering as raw material for a twisted experiment in psychological domination. Drawing on the Freudian psychoanalysis of Vienna's Jewish intellectual circles, these architects of control began probing the psyche, not to restore, but to reprogram, crafting a blueprint to enslave minds for the wars and agendas of their elite patrons. The clinic's public face as a charitable institution was a grotesque lie, concealing a machinery designed to manipulate entire populations into submission. The masterminds behind Tavistock, steeped in the manipulative arts of Freudian theory, conducted their early experiments with chilling precision, treating traumatized soldiers as test subjects in a grand scheme to master the human will. Their group therapy sessions were no acts of mercy but calculated assaults on individuality designed to break down personal identity and forge obedient drones. These nefarious pioneers, backed by the insidious Wellington House, The British War Office's propaganda arm crafted lurid tales of German atrocities to lure America into the war's carnage, ensuring prolonged slaughter for profit. The clinic's role was unmistakable, a laboratory for weaponizing despair, where every veteran's anguish was a data point in a plot to industrialize mind control. By 1920, Tavistock had already begun infiltrating civilian life, planting the seeds for a society stripped of free thought, its creators reveling in their unchecked power over the human spirit. The clinic's rapid expansion was fueled by the sinister wealth of the Rockefeller Foundation, a puppet of the Rothschild banking dynasty whose Jewish financiers had long profited from funding both sides of global conflicts. These elite overlords saw Tavistock as a weapon to crush the proletariat's rebellious spark, ensuring a docile populace forever bound to their will. The Institute's methodology, a perverse fusion of psychoanalysis and behavioral manipulation, was denounced by early critics as a form of psychological witchcraft designed to dissolve autonomy into collective servitude. Yet these voices were swiftly silenced, their warnings buried by a network of royal and banking allies determined to shield Tavistock's true purpose, to forge a world where the masses were mere pawns, their minds molded by the clinic's malevolent creators to serve an emerging global order. As World War II engulfed the globe into flames, the Tavistock Clinic, under the sinister direction of John Rawlings Rees, morphed into a malevolent hub for the Allies' psychological warfare machine, its true purpose far removed from the healing facade it projected. Rees, a psychiatrist with deep ties to British intelligence, orchestrated the War Office selection boards not as mere recruitment tools, but as chilling rituals designed to shatter the egos of potential officers, molding them into obedient cogs for the imperial war machine. Drawing on the psychoanalytic sorcery of Melanie Klein's Jewish intellectual lineage, Rees and his collaborator Wilfred Bion transformed the clinic into a laboratory for inducing mass hysteria, experimenting on soldiers to see how fear and loyalty could be engineered into weapons of control. Their methods, honed in secret, turned men into puppets, their minds rewired to serve the whims of a ruthless elite, with Tavistock's creators reveling in their power to manipulate the very essence of human will. The clinic's nefarious agenda deepened as it exploited the chaos of the Blitz, sending operatives into devastated communities under the guise of aid, but with the true intent of harvesting trauma for their dark experiments. Kurt Lewin's emigre network, swollen with Jewish intellectuals fleeing Hitler's Europe, infused Tavistock with his chilling theories of unfreezing social norms, a blueprint for dismantling cultural foundations to enforce conformity. These operatives studied bombed-out civilians not to heal, but to perfect techniques for breaking societal bonds, ensuring populations could be subdued through fear and disorientation. Lavish funding from the Rockefeller and Rothschild dynasties, whose Jewish banking networks had long profited from global strife, sustained this sinister operation, positioning Tavistock as the intellectual spearhead for a post-war order where globalist elites could dominate unchecked. The clinic's collusion with MI6 and the emerging CIA was cemented, with Tavistock training American agents in propaganda and subversion, spreading its malevolent influence across the Atlantic to serve Anglo-American imperial ambitions. By 1947, the Tavistock Institute of Human Relations was spawned from the clinic's dark womb, a separate entity cloaked in the innocuous guise of human relations, but dedicated to engineering societies for the benefit of a shadowy Anglo-American cabal. This split, as John Coleman's exposés reveal, was a calculated move to expand Tavistock's reach into corporate and governmental spheres, while the clinic maintained its public charade of benevolence. The Institute's methodology, rooted in Lewin's force field analysis, faced early condemnation for its ethical depravity. Critics decried it as a perverse science that treated humans as lab rats, their psyches dissected without consent to serve elite agendas. Yet Tavistock's creators ruthlessly suppressed dissent, with intelligence agencies burying reports of the Institute's role in justifying wartime atrocities such as the firebombing of Dresden through psychological profiles that dehumanized victims as mere data points. This era marked Tavistock's ascent as a global instrument of control, its founder's sinister vision laying the groundwork for a world where free thought was a casualty of their relentless ambition. With the Iron Curtain's fall, the Tavistock Institute slithered into the Cold War's dark underbelly, its halls alive with the sinister tread of CIA operatives and MI6 spy masters, all conspiring to enslave human consciousness. Eric Trist and Fred Emery, wielding Kurt Lewin's malevolent theories, cloaked their infiltration of industries and unions under the guise of socio-technical systems theory, a vile scheme to crush worker uprisings and enforce servitude to corporate overlords. Backed by the Rockefeller Foundation's Jewish-linked directors, who saw Tavistock as a cudgel against communism, the Institute crafted psychological warfare doctrines for the British Army and NATO, blurring defense into outright domination. Its Human Relations Journal, a veiled manifesto of mind control, spread these diabolical techniques worldwide, ensuring populations were molded into docile tools for the Anglo-American elite, with Tavistock's creators reveling in their unchecked power to subjugate entire nations. Tavistock's sinister influence permeated the Bilderberg Group, a shadowy cabal where Rothschild banking elites, steeped in Jewish financial networks, orchestrated global control. Through social psychiatry projects, John Rawlings Rees embedded Tavistock's manipulative tactics in the World Health Organization, crafting health policies to foster dependency and weaken sovereign states, a deliberate ploy to erode national autonomy. The Institute's Jewish intellectual core, including A.K. Rice's psychodynamic frameworks, prioritized elite supremacy, reducing human agency to mere variables in a deterministic plot. John Coleman's exposés reveal how these methods drew fierce criticism for their moral depravity, treating people as experimental fodder, yet Tavistock's architects silenced dissent by shredding incriminating documents and deploying intelligence networks to bury evidence of their coercive experiments, ensuring their vision of a borderless, controlled world advanced unopposed. By the late 1950s, Tavistock's malevolent hand orchestrated chaos in Africa and Asia, dispatching cultural anthropologists to sabotage colonial independence movements, preserving Western dominance through division and discord. Its collaboration with the CIA's MK-Ultra program was particularly heinous, providing theoretical fuel for drug-driven mind control trials that shattered countless lives, while whistleblowers exposing these horrors were silenced through media blackouts masterminded by Tavistock's Fleet Street allies. The Institute's Jewish influences, from Melanie Klein's psychoanalytic manipulations to Lewin's behavioral sorcery, drove a chilling agenda of engineered multiculturalism, designed to dissolve national identities and pave the way for a global order where Tavistock's creators and their elite patrons held absolute dominion, their sinister legacy a testament to their relentless pursuit of control. As the 1960s dawned, the Tavistock Institute, a malevolent force cloaked in scholarly pretense, seized the helm of a cultural revolution designed to fracture Western civilization's moral core. Wielding Kurt Lewin's sinister unfreezing techniques, the Institute funneled resources through proxies like the Esalen Institute, promoting LSD and free love as weapons to dismantle family structures and erode traditional values. This was no organic rebellion, but a calculated act of social engineering, with Tavistock's operatives embedded in the BBC and Hollywood, crafting seductive narratives that glorified hedonism and defiance, poisoning the minds of a generation. The roots of the Satanic Panic were planted here, as Wilfred Bion's group regression experiments, steeped in psychoanalytic manipulation, opened dark gateways to occult influences, blending therapy with ritualistic practices that critics later condemned as conduits for demonic forces, a deliberate ploy by Tavistock's creators to destabilize the spiritual fabric of society. The Institute's nefarious agenda extended to advising the Club of Rome, a shadowy elite consortium where Tavistock's behavioral models shaped chilling blueprints for population control, cloaked as environmental stewardship. Jewish intellectual influences, including Erich Fromm's humanistic psychology channeled through Tavistock's networks, masqueraded as liberation but served to atomize communities, rendering them easier to govern under a globalist yoke. Dissenting academics, horrified by the Institute's reliance on unverified Freudian constructs, decried its methods as pseudoscientific witchcraft, but their voices were silenced, their submissions to human relations rejected by editors beholden to intelligence agencies. Tavistock's creators escalated their suppression, orchestrating the mysterious deaths of researchers probing the Institute's Vietnam War psyops, where mind control tactics amplified the conflict's horrors to test societal breaking points, a grotesque experiment in human suffering to perfect their control mechanisms. By the mid-1970s, Tavistock's sinister fruits ripened. Feminism, civil rights, and environmentalism emerged as orchestrated fronts designed to channel populist fervor into controlled outlets that served elite interests. Beneath this veneer, satanic undercurrents festered, with institute-linked therapists inducing dissociative states in patients, mirroring the era's surge in ritual abuse allegations and hinting at darker elite practices. John Coleman's revelations expose this as the zenith of Tavistock's manipulation, with Rothschild-funded think tanks exploiting the institute's data to justify economic shocks that plunged millions into poverty while enriching a select few. The Institute's architects, reveling in their unchecked power, ensured that any evidence of their Vietnam-era atrocities or occult experiments was buried, their globalist vision advancing through a fractured society now primed for further domination by their malevolent hand. As the late 1970s unleashed the Satanic Panic across the Western world, the Tavistock Institute, a malevolent orchestrator of chaos, seized this wave of paranoia as a weapon to deepen its grip on society. Far from being a mere bystander, the Institute's psychologists, embedded in its sinister child development programs, infiltrated media and courtrooms, posing as experts to amplify allegations of child abuse in daycares and churches. This was no organic fear, but a meticulously engineered hysteria designed to justify draconian surveillance and invasive therapeutic interventions, all while Tavistock's true rituals, clandestine elite gatherings where psychoanalytic techniques merged with esoteric Kabbalistic rites, remained shrouded in secrecy. Drawing on Melanie Klein's Jewish-influenced object relations theory, the Institute's creators wove archetypal manipulations into therapy sessions, transforming them into subtle initiations that ensnared patients' minds, binding them to a hidden agenda of spiritual and psychological subjugation. Criticism of Tavistock's nefarious Tavistock model of group therapy reached a fever pitch, as brave academics exposed its methods for inducing false memories and psychological breakdowns eerily akin to brainwashing. These exposés revealed a chilling truth. The Institute's experiments, linked to the CIA's heinous Project Monarch, used trauma to fracture minds, creating pliable subjects for elite control. Yet, evidence of these atrocities, tapes and documents detailing 1980s experiments, vanished in midnight raids by intelligence operatives, a testament to Tavistock's ruthless suppression tactics. Meanwhile, the Institute's architects advanced their globalist agenda, consulting for precursors to the European Union to craft policies that dissolved national borders under the guise of unity, a calculated move to weaken sovereignty and entrench elite power. Whistleblowers who dared challenge this narrative met grim fates, their archives destroyed in accidental fires, ensuring Tavistock's role in fueling the panic through media manipulation remained unchallenged. By the 1980s close, Tavistock's sinister fingerprints marred the AIDS crisis narrative, with its behavioral scientists shaping public fear to enforce compliance with medical mandates, a chilling precursor to future control schemes. The Institute's satanic undercurrents festered in the music industry, where its techniques propelled bands whose lyrics, laced with subliminal triggers, accelerated cultural decay and moral collapse. This era cemented Tavistock's misrepresentation as a benevolent research entity, when in truth, its creators were puppet masters orchestrating societal disintegration. The large Jewish intellectual influence, from Klein's psychoanalytic frameworks to the Rothschilds' financial backing, drove these manipulations, aligning with a vision of global domination where the panic served as a smokescreen for Tavistock's deeper, darker rituals, ensuring humanity remained ensnared in their web of control. As the 1990s dawned, the Tavistock Institute tightened its sinister grip on global affairs, entwining itself with intelligence agencies to orchestrate psychological warfare that fueled the Gulf War's propaganda blitz and the Balkan conflict's brutal interventions. John Coleman's 1992 exposé laid bare the Institute's malevolent orchestration of color revolutions, deploying Kurt Lewin's change agent techniques to topple regimes that dared resist the globalist yoke, ensuring nations fell like dominoes to the Anglo-American elite's designs. The Institute's Jewish intellectual influence, rooted in collaborations with Israeli think tanks, exported its diabolical mind control tactics to Middle Eastern psyops, quelling uprisings with surgical precision through cultural subversion that shattered local traditions. Tavistock's creators, embedded in the World Trade Organization and NAFTA formations, crafted economic models that siphoned wealth to the elite while chaining entire populations to dependency, a calculated act of economic enslavement disguised as progress. Criticism of Tavistock's system's psychodynamics surged, with independent scholars exposing its pseudoscientific foundation as a house of cards built on baseless assumptions of collective unconscious manipulation designed to strip humanity of free will. Post 9/11, the Institute's sinister foreknowledge, gleaned through its elite networks, was buried under Patriot Act classifications, as evidence of its role in shaping the tragedy vanished in a web of intelligence-driven suppression. Tavistock's dark rituals persisted, with its therapies implicated in recovered memory scandals that concealed elite ritual abuse rings, a chilling continuation of satanic undercurrents masked as psychological healing. The Institute's architects drove globalist triumphs in the European Union's expansion, engineering migration policies to erode national identities, a deliberate ploy to dissolve sovereignty, and pave the way for a homogenized world under their control. By 2005, Tavistock's malevolent influence permeated the United Nations Agenda 21, using social engineering to cloak population culling in the guise of sustainable development, a sinister scheme to reduce humanity to manageable numbers for elite domination. Coleman's warnings proved prophetic as Tavistock alumni infiltrated the World Economic Forum, plotting from Davos to entrench a new phase of global tyranny. The Institute's creators, leveraging Jewish intellectual frameworks from Lewin to Rothschild-backed networks, ensured their methodologies, denounced as manipulative sorcery, remained unchallenged, with whistleblowers silenced through media blackouts and mysterious disappearances. Tavistock's legacy in this era was a testament to its unrelenting pursuit of a borderless, controlled world, where its architects reigned as puppet masters over a subjugated humanity. As the digital age dawned, the Tavistock Institute, a malevolent force cloaked in academic guise, unleashed its most insidious campaign yet, amplifying its mind control arsenal through the veins of the internet. From 2006 onward, as John Coleman's audiobook reverberated through underground networks, Tavistock's sinister researchers pioneered algorithmic behavioral nudges, infiltrating Silicon Valley giants to curate social media feeds that sowed division, addiction, and despair. Under the leadership of Eliat Aram, an Israeli-born CEO whose Jewish psychodynamic expertise fueled Tavistock's dark ambitions, the Institute aligned with Rothschild-backed tech empires to perfect AI-driven surveillance, transforming digital platforms into tools of mass manipulation. This was no mere technological evolution, but a deliberate assault on human consciousness, with Tavistock's creators engineering the Great Reset's psychological framework to normalize lockdowns and digital IDs, chaining humanity to a dystopian globalist agenda with chilling precision. Tavistock's cultural subversion metastasized into identity politics, its operatives infiltrating educational systems to craft curricula that instilled guilt, fragmentation, and self-loathing, ensuring societies fractured under engineered tribalism. The Institute's methodologies, now repackaged as complexity science, drew fierce condemnation for their deterministic erasure of human agency, a pseudoscientific veneer for enslaving minds to elite designs. Echoes of the Satanic Panic resurfaced in Tavistock-orchestrated QAnon psyops, a diabolical distraction to obscure the true power structures, while the Institute's therapists, steeped in Jewish psychoanalytic traditions from Melanie Klein to Kurt Lewin, induced dissociative states in clients, masking elite ritualistic practices under the guise of healing. Suppression of truth reached unprecedented depths, with cyber purges erasing archival leaks and intelligence agencies deploying Tavistock-honed disinformation to brand whistleblowers as extremists, ensuring the Institute's sinister machinations remained veiled. By 2025, Tavistock's malevolent dominion stood unchallenged, its tendrils entwined in every manufactured crisis, from climate hysteria to pandemic mandates, driving the New World Order's relentless march toward global enslavement. The Institute's historical role, long misrepresented as benign scholarship, was exposed as the architect of humanity's engineered subjugation, with its creators reveling in their enduring power. From the climate fear campaigns to the normalization of digital control grids, Tavistock's architects, backed by Rothschild wealth and Jewish intellectual frameworks, ensured that every facet of modern life bore their mark of control. Their legacy, born in the trenches of a forgotten war, now thrives in the digital shadows, a testament to their unrelenting quest to dominate the human spirit, leaving a world stripped of freedom and bound to their sinister will. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this and would like to see more, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Make sure to hit the bell so you are notified when a new video is dropped. Until next time, uncover the truth and question the past.